Hello again. So, it has taken a remarkably long time to frame this video the way it was framed, as my room is not made for YouTube videos or presentation of any style. So, after gratuitous amounts of adjusting where to put the thing my phone is leaning on to frame me, a poster, and the TV to show my amazing Xbox wallpaper, I now present you this video, and this will be the last time you see me looking at the camera. So, I am a bit bored, so I've decided to make this type of video again. This time, it's my thoughts on the Biomutant situation, the video game, and just overall consumer thoughts. So, now you will see this in my eyes as I am now going to read the script that I wrote. Remember, I don't have editing software. This is the best you can get from me. Man, it's 7 a.m. It's such a nice day. Okay, let's begin. After I sip my water, there it is. I was gonna say, where's my water? I hope the thumbnail looks just like I want it to, too, because I took a picture for the thumbnail. I'm bored again, so I'm back to making these types of videos. Let this be known now. This is not a review on the Biomutant game. Not at all. Rather, I want to give my thoughts on the discourse around the game, the mental battle I had in the span of a day, and why I think this small debacle happened. So, the game obviously just came out, and a lot of press has come out as expected. Pretty much the deal is, most reviewers and outlets have either been negative or very meh about the game, with some people outright recommending that you avoid the game. Its reviews on Steam are mixed. On Xbox, that's nearly at 5 stars. I'm unsure about PlayStation. It's selling well according to the Steam charts. It was on the top globally, along with Maneater, Resident Evil Village, likes of that, Mass Effect Legendary Edition, Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. I'm still seeing that. Days Gone, big ups. Haven't played it yet. I still have that PlayStation that I bought that game for. A general synopsis is that the and it's selling well. Yeah, I said that already. General synopsis is that the game is graphically impressive and technically sound, with no game-breaking bugs. It's got no season pass or special editions. It's a AA game sitting at a AAA price of $60, and it's a pretty shallow open world akin to many of Ubisoft's open world games, such as Far Cry, in the sense of here's a large space with nothing too spectacular going on. You'll probably be doing repeated tasks like repeated assaults on forts, talking to someone who might say nothing of actual importance, not unique tailored content, the likes of Red Dead Redemption, Stranger Missions, or I'll say specifically Skyrim because that's the only real Bethesda open world game I've played, although I am playing Fallout New Vegas and Bethesda's games play very similar to each other, at least Fallout and Skyrim. Bethesda's, quest-like content where it's unique stories that you're playing out. And it has many systems that don't mesh well or don't seem to be fully realized. It was also made by a team of 20 people. Overall, it's a harmless game that people will either like or dislike, and that's about it at the moment. So, when the people with early copies put out their reviews and the mostly meh or negative comments about the game came out, many consumers were heartbroken and disappointed, instantly either writing it off or completely stating that they'll respectably wait for a price drop. A lot of people were looking at this game for some time now, and hearing news like this obviously is painful to many. Personally, my attachment to the game is simple. I saw it in the game's coming soon section on my Xbox. I liked the look of the game, in the very literal sense, and I was simply interested in the premise. What got me interested the most was the art style and the visuals. I wasn't aware that it was being developed by a small team or anything regarding its development process, which granted is a lot better than hearing about the biggest game of all time generation-defining masterpiece upcoming that has been delayed 3 times. I'm talking about Cyberpunk 2076. When I heard it was an open world, I honestly can't say I had expectations. The last open world game I bought was Red Dead Redemption 2, so clearly nothing will compare for a long while. I've had a lot of opinions regarding open world games that I think I'll dedicate to a different video. So why am I telling you all this? Because this was probably the first game that I almost skipped because of reviews. Yes, believe it or not, 130,000 gamer score, Capital G Gamer, trying to make a G. I don't really look at reviews for games I'm interested in buying. Ever since Game Pass, I haven't bought a lot of games. I don't know why that makes me laugh. And I typically don't buy AAA games nowadays due to past traumas and general lack of interest in IPs. And when I say past traumas, I mean, the huge releases that everyone wanted. Not saying that all of these ones that I'm going to list real quick I was interested in, but the Anthems, the Fallout 76s, the Evolves, the Rainbow Six Sieges at launch, the No Man's Sky at launch. I've rarely ever wasted money on the games I buy because I make sure I buy games I'll enjoy, because money's precious out in these streets. My biggest mistake as of late was The Last of Us Part 2. Never again. Anyway, most times where I watch reviews of games I have no real interest in buying, but I watch them anyways for entertainment, be it good or bad games. However, the 2 months or so that I've been waiting on this game, I had to pause on the day one purchase, as in yesterday, upon seeing these reviews. I mean, surely, I cannot disrespect myself. I can't allow myself to play another objectively flawed, shallow open world game, right? However, I absorbed a lot of knowledge on the game in the plethora of reviews I saw, all of which are pretty much floating around the 48 to 70 score if we're going from 0 to 100, like Metacritic, or zero point 0.0 to, 10. After which, I asked myself, is it really that deep? The game was made by a clearly passionate small team. They released a they released a visually impressive game that was also technically superior to a lot of games, considering its lack of bugs, lack of crashes, lack of microtransactions, or any real harmful or predatory practices. So, I steeled myself, and I bought it on day one. Since I'm talking about stealing myself, I might as well. I'm going to ruin the framing of everything here. Gamer hat on. Excuse me. So I steeled myself, and I bought it on day one. As of making this video, I have about 7 hours of playtime. I guess I can't help myself, so I'll quickly tell you about my experience. It's pretty much exactly like the reviews told me. The sound design is lackluster. The combat is flawed. The customization is really cool. The AI is very easily cheesed with range weapons, even on hard difficulty. The open world is very dry, and the quests are pretty much lame and uninteresting, such as Ubisoft. As in the Ubisoft design of the open world, not saying Ubisoft as an entire company is lame and uninteresting. I like a lot of their games. It also has a very meh soundtrack. In these types of games, it's safe to assume that after the first few hours, you've already experienced pretty much the bulk of what the game has to offer, which is why I feel comfortable in making this video so soon. I mean, as I said, I don't want to review the game. I bought the game after hearing about all of those things, and experiencing those things, well, after hearing those things, and I still bought it full price. But why? Because I don't think it's that serious. And in a second, I'll explain why I think this kind of discourse happened, or surrounding the game. Okay. Rather than this game just releasing and life continuing, this small thing happened. I'm not an elitist, and I am not critical of most video games. I simply cannot. Even if I wanted to, I can't. I couldn't be a reviewer or anything that sounds like hell on earth. The most critical I've ever been on a game was The Last of Us Part 2, and that was for a myriad of reasons. Other than that, I usually play what I want to, and I'm interested in. I play what I want and am interested in. I like a lot of bad or shallow games. I even like objectively bad ones. That's what's so nice about this entertainment medium. So here's why I think this small debacle happened. I think this game had a cyberpunk situation, but on a much smaller scale. Meaning, people overhyped the game or had expectations that could be met for one reason or another. I'm not the type of consumer who has clear expectations on games that I'm interested in. I don't like to speculate or guess things. I leave that to the developers, crafting the experience for me, and I hope that it's just good by their standards. And, by idiot consumer standards as well. I just consume product, and I enjoy what I want to. This game didn't show much before it came out. It had very little footage to look over regarding any aspect of it. You would just see some gameplay mostly around the combat and character customization with small montages of the world, like presentation pieces where they're just walking around, they have their original soundtrack playing by the game. Because a lot of games sell on their visuals nowadays. I don't know what you could have expected from this game except for whatever it was to be good. Another small thing of note, the game, this open world AAA game, or sorry, AA AAA price, is under 20 gigabytes. This game is like 16.3 gigabytes. It's around there, 16 point something gigabytes last I checked. I think the game's visual flair was an instant attraction to a lot of us. We've had a lot of photorealistic AAA games come out, maybe too many. At this point, those types of games need to distinguish themselves with the style of their world and characters. This game instantly looks different from everything else in the market. You have open world with these cheesy comic book combat texts like kapow, whoosh, blam in the midst of combat. You have these weird mutated creatures, a rodent-looking protagonist with kung fu, magic, and guns, all meshed together with crafting mechanics and a visually stunning post-apocalyptic world. Who wouldn't take notice? The one thing I think that cemented all this intrigue, though, and this level of hype, was the price. This might be a tinfoil hat theory. It certainly is. But I firmly believe that pricing it at $60 is what made people so critical of the game and made fans take these reviews so seriously. Games have changed over the years, and that includes the value of the dollar. Games are becoming a lot more costly for developers, and us consumers have been duped on a lot of AAA releases. And games are getting a lot more expensive than $60 most times just off the base because of DLC add-ons, cosmetics, microtransactions, season passes, deluxe editions, you name it. Despite this game not having all of those add-ons or predatory systems, it's still asking for the same price as a game like Red Dead Redemption 2, God of War, Spider-Man, Battlefield, Call of Duty, Mortal Kombat, The Last of Us, Part 2, Mass Effect Legendary Edition, etc. I think we subconsciously compare games based on their cost. I know I do. And enjoyment of games has also changed drastically. What I mean by this is that a lot of us can't enjoy many games casually because of, real life FOMO trash like battle passes being inserted in every freaking game known to man, Red Dead Redemption Online, Red Dead Online, Gears of War, Dead by Daylight, For Honor, whatever the heck else. And sometimes these games are very wishy-washy on if they want to charge you actual money for that, especially in a lot of these paid games, or if they want to charge you separately. Or, excuse me, make it obtainable through grinding in-game currency of the sorts, because, a lot of premium currency from mobile games has just taken over the gaming industry. Excuse me. The game's overall getting too pricey, shooting up to $70 on next gen, or getting robbed too many times in the past, a la 76, Anthem, da 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 da, Lawbreakers. Basically, what I'm saying is that a lot of us cannot buy trash anymore, which is a shame, because from what I've played so far, I wouldn't write off the game. Unsurprisingly, as a casual, I'm enjoying it, and it's a perfect Zen-like game for me. I can get on, casually engage, and I feel like my money's been spent supporting ambitious developers who can hopefully prosper and do even better for the future of the game or their other ideas. However, I fully understand why this all happened. A lot of us are starving for a strong open world release. It's been a few years now. Excuse me. It's been a few years now, and I say this respectably. Biomutant was never going to be the feast that a lot of us needed. I'll say it again. The game isn't even 20 gigabytes. Trust and believe, I hate how large these games have gotten because of these horrific next-gen consoles with their disgusting retail space of like under a terabyte just off base. But a game size is usually an indicator of something, you know? You have to take it into consideration. Unless you're talking about, say, Call of Duty. Like, those dudes need a lesson in compression. However, despite Biomutant not being a feast, in a weird video game way, I think we need more games like it. Just not at $60. This game would be a perfect $30 to $40 game, just due to its polish. Ultimately, and when I say due to its polish, I don't mean it is the most polished game. I mean due to its lack of polish in a lot of systems. That is why I say it would be a perfect $30 to $40 game. Ultimately, this game won't be a hit for a capital G gamer, but for a younger person, your kid, or a dirty casual, it should be a hit. It's definitely a hit for me, despite all the stuff I've said, which I'd say has been what you would typically see in a more negative, 6, 7, 5 to 4 review. Closing statements. I do feel a bit bad for the developers regarding the widespread fan reception. Even though the game is selling, the critics have done a great job explaining the game where it succeeds and where it falls. I'm glad to see it's jiving well with casual gamers and is selling well. I think its biggest mistake with the dev team and the publisher was retailing it at AAA price. Restock before you head out. Joel did nothing wrong. Last of Us Part 2 is a humongous waste of your time and money.